Hello, and welcome to episode 87 of Unqualified Game Chat. I'm your host, Azara Lopez, and with me today is the always moving, the
Yeah,
omnipresent,
that's true too.
the fire starter?
I am the fire starter. Yeah. All those cool fan made videos like backflips and shit playing that. That's me.
Spencer the Legacy.
What's up, everybody?
I bring
Hello.
that up because Canada is polluting New York.
D- d- did I do that?
I don't know. I don't
That's what
know.
Urkel would say if he made New York look like a PS1 rendering.
Mm,
It's like in the
mm.
Spider-Man PS1 game how you couldn't go on the streets because it was a PS1, so they just said, the Green Goblin filled it with gas, and you're only on building tops, and there's just gas all so you can't
Is
see the
that how they
floor.
explained it?
The PS1 game. Yeah, it was like some villain just
I always
flooded it with
just wrote
gas.
it off as this is how games are. Like this is just like it's just
I,
normal.
I'm pretty sure that happened because
No,
and
I
then
think I believe you're right. I do
yeah,
believe you're right.
and then with Superman 64, they were just like, oh, it's a virtual realm, so any glitches you see in the virtual world are Lex Luthor's programming.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
nothing. This isn't real. You're just like let's
yeah,
explain a video game using video game logic.
it's so cool. It's so
Yeah,
dumb.
and then it just makes sense after that. You're like, oh yeah. I can see
Like,
that.
oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, you didn't need to explain why Spider-Man's on rooftops instead of on the ground, but that's fine.
So we have Bailey and Mark are from New York, and they can't go outside right now.
That's freaky.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's not cool. I mean, it's cool that they're doing okay.
yeah.
Not it's not cool that they walk outside. They're in Gastopia. It's
Well, I
cool.
feel bad that Canada's on fire. I don't know if I don't know how equipped Canada is to deal with fires. California has them all the time, so I think we've advised some like plans on how to handle them, even though
Yeah,
they
I think
happen
it's
all the
Alberta.
time.
I think it's
But
Alberta.
Canada is just like I don't know how they deal with them.
Well, probably not super effectively given New York is a Spider-Man PS1 game, but at
Yeah, just
the
send
same
all the
time,
smoke to New York. That's the.
yeah, they're more equipped to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly I didn't know about any of that till today because we I know some people in New York as well, and I'm assuming it's Alberta because there's always fires there, and
Mm.
my where I live in Ontario looks completely fine. There's nothing wrong with outside, so I'm assuming it's not here. But I don't know. Yeah.
Um. Well, with that said, Spencer, as you know, this is a podcast that you and I do, as recorded every week. Hopefully,
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying.
we're doing better.
We
We're doing
noticed I was
better.
a little busy moving, so there
Yeah,
wasn't one
yeah,
last.
yeah. You've moved once again.
Yeah,
Um. Hopefully,
this should be it.
should be it. This should be Spencer's man lair
Oh man,
for the
my
foreseeable
mom saw your
future.
comment.
She saw my
She
comment.
brought it up to me, and I was
So
like,
for
I'm
those
like, Mom.
wondering, Spencer tweeted out his apartment, and I said, "Spencer's fuck palace."
Yeah, my mom laughed at that. I don't think she loved it, but she thought it was very funny. My dad laughed really hard at it, so that was pretty funny.
Well, I'm glad they know they could see the humor,
Yeah,
and then I did correct it to love
it's
palace.
true. We got a PG version, a PG
Yeah,
13
yeah.
version. Mhm. Yeah, I
Sorry.
see people come over and I say, we can get to the lovemaking, just walk by the Spider-Man figure display and also the Dragon Ball Z cabinet, and just straight into the cool not nerd room with the One Piece flag. That one.
Yeah, you know what? 10 years ago, I had a room and I decided to like weeb it out. Like there was po- like anime girls like half naked on these posters. I had
Did you
like
ever go into the full? Were you ever one of those people with the full hentai figures and like glass cabinets?
not hentai figures in
Okay,
glass cabinets,
I've
but
seen.
I did there were some risque. I had some pretty risque figures.
Okay,
Um the posters I think were really bad. Um because there's like a lot of cloth posters. I had a couple like of those body pillows. I was just going all in.
yeah.
So, me as a person in the real world, I don't look like I like that stuff. So girls would be like, "Oh, I want to go on a date with this guy," and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So we'll go on a date
Yeah,
and we'll hang out and be
I
like,
like where this is
"Okay,
going. This
we
is
go
a
back,
fun story.
we go back to your place," and I'm like, "Okay." I tell, okay, so we walk in.
What was the disclaimer? I need to know the disclaimer you gave them at your front door while you pull out your key.
So
Okay,
I do warn
so
him. I do warn him. I say, "Hey, so I do stuff in video games. Like I write for video games and stuff, and sometimes I do videos. So I have like all this like video game stuff, but it's all ironic. It's like I just do it
it's all
ironic.
ironic.
I just I just do it I just do it ironically.
That
It got a
rocks.
little out of hand, but so the dates quickly end
Hmm.
when they see my room.
Hmm.
It's
Is that the room
it
you were sleeping in?
That was the room I was sleeping in. So
That is tough.
what I ended up doing was moving all the stuff to the living room and having my room relatively
See, that's what I
empty.
do. Yeah.
Um and um and now in my house now, this room, I have all of my anime stuff
Hmm.
here. Not too much video game stuff out in the living room or in my room. A couple posters, a couple frame posters, a lot of manga like just hanging
Hmm.
around, but other than that, you c- I just I always hated being defined by something, like,
100%.
oh, you like anime? That means you're XYZ.
Yeah, it's the
They
worst.
yeah, they try to put you in a box right away. No, I'm a little more three-dimensional.
No, I like Dragon Ball Z, but I'm also a cool Chad. You know,
Yeah, I also play music. I also watch movies. I also, like
it's very easy
enjoy
to talk to someone
cooking.
and to
Yeah,
be like this. That's it. But everybody's everybody's multifaceted.
it's getting more acceptable, I guess, to like anime, but I feel like these like streamer kids that are like into anime, I don't think they I don't know. I don't know how it became so cool. Like
I don't even.
how literally 15 years ago I was
Streamers don't
getting
believe it.
I was getting beat up
Yeah,
for talking about anime
streamers
to
don't believe. There's that
now.
one tweet that always pisses me off where it's like you weren't beat up for liking anime. You were beat up for being cringy and doing the Naruto. No,
No.
no, hundred
No.
percent. You were beat up for
Yeah.
liking dumb shit that
Yeah.
you like. Like
I
that's
think
just how it was.
I think I wore a Gundam shirt one time and it was like a super cool Gundam shirt. I'll even say it's cool now.
Yeah.
It was heavy arms. It was just heavy arms
Hmm.
and I got beat up for it.
Yeah, that kind of shit happen all the time.
Yeah. It was
Gamers don't cannot fathom it because between like 2010 and like 2016 ish, it became like chic, like
mm,
nerd. It was like whoa. I think you know what? I think a lot of it was like it started with Star Wars, where like everybody saw Star Wars when it came out. Like my dad's like the most like sports like Chad dude
mhm.
ever, and like he went to every original Star Wars. So like yeah, and then I think that really amplified with the MCU, where comic characters were made into like digestible movie stories and characters. So everyone like if you were at school and you're like, oh yeah, I like Iron Man, that's totally different to say now
Yeah.
than it would
It's
have been 20 years ago.
yeah.
So I think the MCU was a big thing that made it like, oh, well, now you can sneak nerd interests in because they're very profitable and very everybody likes these things that were once nerdy. So that's what I figure.
Yeah. So after high school I did stop playing video games and I did stop liking anime and I remember like maybe 4 or 5 years later I had a girlfriend and I picked up I believe Mugen Souls and Neptunia on PS3 and I started playing them and I was like, "Fuck, I think I've missed out on some of this niche crap." They're really bad games, by the way. And like that and like Cross Edge, just these super like niche, very niche games. And then it opened up doors to like Project Cross Zone,
Yeah,
or
that was a big one
like
too.
those you start seeking out these kind of niche titles and having fun with them. I think I
People
was just
underestimate how amazing crossover games are at getting
oh yeah.
niche things.
Yeah.
And like, it's insane how
Yeah.
maybe it's just a certain type of person because I'm definitely that type. But like when I was a kid and I played Smash Brothers, I say, "What is this guy from? He's cool."
Oh,
And then
yeah.
that
Especially the
leads to
trophies.
yeah, the
Some of
trophies.
those
I'd be like,
trophies.
"Who's this?" Because they have all the ones from series that aren't even represented by playable people. You'd be
Mhm.
like, "Wait." So you'd see one that you know, and you'd be like, "That's so cool! It's so cool to see fucking Stanley from Donkey Kong 3 in 3D." Or you'd see a character like playable like Marth and Roy or not playable, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, what are they from?" And then like, man, that's why it boggles my mind that the last Marvel versus Capcom fumbled the bag so hard that they haven't made it. This is like the prime time to make a Marvel crossover fighting game, and it's
What do you
nuts.
think hit? What do you why didn't that game do well?
I think it was a couple things. One, the biggest one is 100%. The Marvel Studios was in a weird place where Fox owned the movie rights to the X Men, and they threw out everything, not just games, comics, even comics and
Yeah.
shows and
That
there was
yeah.
no X Men stuff. They were like the Inhumans or the New
I think they had
Mutants.
Fantastic Four too.
Same with Fantastic Four, exactly. The only reason they didn't do it with Spider Man is because he's literally their number one character. So even if Sony co-owns Spider Man, it's like being like you can't not put out a Mario game as Nintendo. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
So they didn't allow any X Men characters, but a Marvel versus Capcom game without like Wolverine is insane. And then in addition to that, awful PR. I remember there were interviews where the devs were like, "Well, if you think about it, like characters are more functions than anything. So Magneto has like an 8-way air dash function, but so does Nova. So you don't need Magneto." And that made people really mad because you're basically saying the characters you like in the game, they don't really matter.
They don't
Anyone
matter.
can be them. Not
Yeah.
great. And then also it was, very visually unpleasant at times. That game like just didn't have a great art
Yeah, they
style.
went a very strange
Yeah,
art
and
direction.
they replaced like Marvel vs. Capcom. People sleep on it, but it has a really good soundtrack throughout the years. It has
Mm.
really good character themes, and the Capcom themes are like remixes that are really great for each character, and the Marvel ones were like really well made songs. They replaced all those with like very MCU orchestral cinematic songs, which stunk. And then also it just like it was a fun game, but it just the roster you can't. They reused a lot of characters from the previous one and only a few new characters, and there weren't as many. I think Capcom as there were Marvel, or the other way around. So it's like a lopsided screen. It was so many strange little things. It's just such a bummer. But
Yeah. I have
yeah,
the first I have the first one on PS1 that I've played. Um but I I think the Dreamcast version is way better.
Dreamcast for two specifically
2.
is like the
Okay.
most arcade accurate I think port.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah,
that's what people wanted. I don't know. Back then for some reason like the DualShock controller, the original one, was super light.
it's
Like
insanely light.
it's insanely light. Like it's crazy
Back then we didn't
how
notice because it was just like what was the comparison? The SNES controller it was like that's light
I
too.
yeah,
Now,
and I would compare it even to like the first um PlayStation controller without the analog sticks,
yeah, that one's
and
weird.
that
That one's a weird one.
it's also weird to like play with now in holds
Yeah,
and like how did I
yeah,
get so far? Like I only had that controller so I couldn't play games like Ape Escape or anything like
yeah.
that.
That was the big one. Was Ape Escape was dual shoot.
Yeah.
Was
Get
yeah.
kinda fucked us over there, Sony. Made it so we can't play your game.
It's so funny that they were just like, "Here's a new game. You need the new controller." Bye.
Hmm.
Like, and
Hmm.
back then too, nuts.
So right now we're kind of at a calm before the storm of several gaming events this
Yes,
month.
yeah.
Um, and coming up in July, we have Anime Expo pretty early. I don't really want to get into predictions because this episode will come out before. I just want to say that we are aware of Summer Games Fest, and then I believe Final Fantasy 16 is having a like a party thing or something like that, a launch event, um, which is
Man, we'd be
cool.
gearing up for E3 around now. That's so sad.
Yeah, yeah, it was usually at the end of June.
Yeah,
And I
I've
only
been
know
getting.
because Anime Expo is always on the first. So I would go to E3 and I would just stay in LA the
Yeah,
extra week, the
yeah,
extra like 3 or 4 days, and then just start Anime
yeah.
Expo. And everyone would go home. All the journalists would go home. Um, we're also already. I'm doing better now. I'm preparing for PAX West.
That's exciting.
We got this baller ass Airbnb. That's
Oh man, that's cool.
it's a 15-minute walk from
Oh,
the
that's
convention.
really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
We got 6 people going, including myself. Mark's gonna be there, so we're gonna do some video content. Um, we just put out our PAX East video. It was
Oh,
Patreon
just
exclusive for a
today.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just put it out today. So I do think you should watch it if you're listening to this. Please watch that video. It's a lot of fun. When I launched Noisy Pixel or whatever, all I wanted was like a G4, like a new G4 thing. And that's kind of what we go for in those interviews, just like very casual. They don't have those anymore. They don't
No,
have those from the
out
show
of
floor things. Maybe was it COVID that stopped it?
I think COVID fucked a lot of shit up with games, media,
Also,
presentations.
well, and I guess also ease of access, because now it's not like IGN used to do it, show floor stuff, but now IGN just buys a stage and they go to the stage, you know? But I liked the on the floor stuff where the people walked around and they went up to the people. It wasn't
Felt more
scripted. There was
genuine.
no, there
Yeah,
was like, I don't know. It just felt more
real.
guerrilla. Yeah,
Yeah.
real. Um,
You were like, oh, these people are like me. I could
yeah.
do this.
Yeah,
And
and you see all the people walking around and stuff, and you feel like you're there.
like
Um,
almost every single games journalist I've ever met was like, I watched E3 on IGN or G4, and that they were on the floor, and they were talking to people, and I wanted to do that. So it's so weird that the thing that inspired everybody is just so rare now.
I on that note, it's like I feel sorry for games journalists right now. There's been several like site layoffs for
It's been
big
a bad
sites.
year for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
every 2 weeks.
My thing is just get into pop culture.
Yeah,
top
oh
10
man,
top 10
yeah,
hottest Wolverines done.
yeah,
I just paid your rent.
yeah. It's crazy.
It's yeah,
It's like a weird pride thing. It's like, dude, I think
well
it's more pride. I think I'd be more proud to have a job than to
there's there
like me personally. I'd rather have a job posting something like that than not be employed.
oh yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
like there's like a weird thing with like content creator, video game journalist, Um I do believe that these websites are receiving less traffic because people would rather go to this place for their
Personalities are bigger than ever.
yeah.
You go. This guy's like me. This guy's funny. He's appealing. Whatever. This guy I like, or this girl, or this whatever. They appeal to specifically what I like and my preferences in media and stuff. And then you just go, oh well, I want to see what they think of it, what they're saying about it, how they're covering it, and then rather than like the company that I don't think most people with big outlets anymore like know the names as much. They're not like, oh, I want to see what Spencer Legacy posted on
Mhm.
IGN, like something like
Mhm.
that. I think less than when that's your whole brand is you, then people are like, oh, I want to see what fucking I don't know, Mega 64 or
Yeah.
insert name here. It's a lot more. Yeah, I think personalities have really overtaken outlets.
Yeah. And
Nice
it
Pixel's a
sucks.
nice mix because of things like
Yeah.
the Pack East video.
Yeah. You get
Mm-hmm.
you get to see the people, you get to kind of get a dose of our personalities. That's that okay, so in like the 30s and 40s when film was like coming up and people were going to the cinema,
Yeah,
especially during the silent era of film and going into the talkies, um actors needed to be good at not only acting but tap dancing, singing,
yeah.
rollerblading, um all they physical stuff, and back then they didn't get paid a lot. They were probably like the bottom of the barrel for who got paid during those times, and over time they got paid more. But I feel like that's what it takes to be a journalist now. Not only do you have to write well, but you have to have a great personality, you have to have charisma, you have to have um uh opinions on everything. You have to have the skills and technology to edit videos, to create videos, to record gameplay. um
You gotta be a jack of all trades pretty much by default now.
it's and if you're not, then and
Someone
your
else is.
only outlet is writing, that's
Mhm.
where it's like,
I believe it's
okay,
called the Ace Bonanza Standard. I think that's what it's called.
wear, but yeah, wear many hats.
Yeah.
Get your hand in
I didn't
all.
name it that. I've just heard. Um,
So you have all these great writers that are
because
unemployed now,
it's
and
all they can do.
and I, as an independent site, I can't afford them. I can afford someone out of college that's trying to get into the gaming industry. So it's like, oh shit, yeah, I want to help you, but on top of that, like I have to think about also paying
Mhm.
my
And you got to be able
staff.
to do more than just write. Like
Yeah,
you got to be able to do it all if you're going to
yeah,
get paid, because everybody else can.
yeah. It's
People are entering the
it's
industry able to do all that, so you got to catch up.
it sucks because you're a few people that I know are really good writers, and they have some really nice feature pieces, and but you know what? Like nobody wants to read anymore.
It's true.
Nobody nobody
Nothing
has
more than a
time.
paragraph.
Yeah. No one, and watching a video is easier for them.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't blame people. I don't subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels, like personal YouTube channels, but I do. Everything on my YouTube homepage is just kind of provided for me, and I rely on that algorithm. But there's very little for that for like written content.
Hmm. It's true. It's a. I think it's the middle of a transition period
Hmm.
where it's just kind of uncomfortable to adjust. But I think soon enough it'll just be that'll be the standard. Is it's doing everything, doing all pretty well, having a personality, and I mean there'll always be a place for writing, obviously, but it's definitely shrunk. Like it's now a piece of the pie. It's
Yeah.
so you gotta be able to bake the rest too. So
You know what really saddens me about that this the way that we have to the way that we have to be to run this kind of place is that we can only be surface level on everything. We
yeah, there's
can't
no time to be anything else.
we like guide writers, they write guides so they can play one game for a month and that's it. They don't have to worry about writing stupid articles, ten articles a day plus editing videos. They just play one game. But
Yeah.
like, I'm only surface level good at all the games that I play. I don't have the time to invest in and mastering it. Diablo 4 is a great example. It's like that was a game that I wanted to just enjoy and I haven't been able to. And I'm looking at games like there's a new Aliens game coming out. Um and that's a game that I wanted to um kind of just learn and invest and to develop strategies on, and I don't think I'm going to be able to, and it's kind of a
Yeah.
bummer.
My sister said to me, because my sister's obviously not involved in like the game industry or anything. She's the most like grown up of us, where she's like in medical stuff and everything. So but she played Zelda, and she was like, "Oh, did you do this like in this place?" And I was like, "I don't even know where that place is like continentally. I don't.
Yeah.
You're 3 layers ahead. Like I have no. I can't. I'm just trying to go, and it's such a bummer that
Yeah.
like. But I mean, that's just kind of how it. If you want to cover games, you gotta get the get what you can, get what you need is more accurate, I guess, and then the next one's out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The Trails series, like Legend of Heroes and all those, like I'm just surface level knowledgeable on them, you
Mhm,
know, like and those are games that I want to play.
mhm.
And I don't know, man.
Years ago,
The,
when we started this podcast, you said we were talking about Ace Attorney, and I was like, "You got to play them." And you were like, "I don't think I will ever have the time." And I get that so much now because I'm just like, all the time when stuff comes out, I'm like, "Oh, eventually I'm going to be unemployed, whether I'm
mhm.
retired in
Yeah,
40 years or
40,
I'm
40 years
fired in
old.
20."
Yeah.
So either way, when I'm unemployed and I have some money put away and I can take a little bit of time to just catch up, I look forward. That's like the promised land in the future. But
Dude,
it's very,
I have so many unopened Switch games just waiting for me to turn 40.
about Marvel Midnight Suns Day came out, and I love Marvel comics, and I was stoked, and I have installed it 3 times, and each time a new review game came out, and I was like, "There's no room on the hard drive," and I just kept deleting it. I still haven't started.
Are you reviewing a game right now
I just finished Street Fighter for embargo, so I right now I don't think I am, but Final Fantasy is the next big one.
that you're reviewing?
I'm on it. We haven't gotten anything yet, but
Okay.
yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the only thing I could talk about with Final Fantasy is what I played at the preview event.
Mhm.
And
You're pretty
it,
high on it.
yeah, I keep thinking about it. So it's just one of
I
those
can't wait.
games. Yeah.
I can't
But
wait.
that sucks that you're reviewing it though, because now you can't just like give
Well,
yourself
I don't know if I am, but it'll
uh,
depend. Again, it's also a time thing,
I
right?
need I need to like I need to just kick everyone out of my room, not turn off my I need to turn off my phone. I'm going to
Yeah,
order a pizza. I'm going to get a nice Coke Zero and
I'm
I'm
gonna do
going to
that too.
fucking
They got Coke
play
Zero Cherry in Canada now. Zero
they
cherry. Oh,
oh
damn,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, we have cream. We have
Oh,
zero
oh my
sugar
god.
cream.
America's not fair.
Yeah.
Canada gets like nothing. That's so
Yeah.
We didn't even get the fucking red Spider-Man burger. This is a
Uh,
shithole.
I wouldn't probably eat that, but it sounds interesting.
But I want the option.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Man, I'm gonna do the same thing with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is such like a series where it's just like that's my shit. That's just what
Yeah,
I every time it comes out.
get take drink all the energy drinks you need,
Yeah.
but sit down,
And sit
enjoy it.
this chair
That's the
facing
chair.
that TV,
That's the
the
TV.
giant pizza on that table.
Yep.
I'm gonna fucking sit there for 72 hours, and I'm gonna feel really uncomfortable going back to work because my stomach's gonna hurt,
Oh, I
and I'm
love
gonna have
it.
slept very little.
Oh, I love it.
It's gonna rock.
It is.
It
It is.
will.
But
I haven't done that in a long time.
the adventures and the stories that you're going to develop on the way, that's
Mm-hmm.
all that matters, Mr.
So true.
Legacy. That's all
So,
that matters. It's
so true.
at this point, I'm not reviewing it for the website. I'm not reviewing it for Noisy Pix, I'll tell you that. So I'll just say so, and I haven't played it past the first 2 hours from that preview event. Um, so I just want to disclaimer that so that no one's thinking that I'm like saying things that are happening further. Um, that even if the game is bad, I'm still gonna have a great fucking time. I
100%.
I did the same with Final Fantasy 15. I get it. I get
Absolutely.
I get your criticisms. I understand, but by God, when I was playing that fucking game, I
It was
was
close.
hanging out with my dudes. I
Yeah.
was cooking. I was fucking going fishing. I
It was
was taking
incredible.
out some dungeons.
I
I
lived on
was
resident at the time, and I just didn't sleep. I would just
I
go
was
back to my
there.
after class. I would play Final Fantasy 15 for like 14 hours. I would sleep for like an hour, 2 hours, go to class, I'd come back and I would just play Final Fantasy 15.
I
Fucking
was
rock.
I lived that world. I
Yeah,
lived that world.
I miss that.
I
We talk like we're like 60. I'm
yeah.
like 26. I'm gonna be 27 in August, and I talk like I'm
the
fucking dead.
the cup noodles
Yeah,
ads.
yeah.
I'm cool. I was cool with it. I was
Hmm.
fine with it. Is it a little silly? A little
Yeah.
silly, but
That's the natural progression of like high school, middle school. We don't have middle school, but yeah, going to your friend's house. You each get a big bag of chips and a huge Coke, and you're like, let's play fucking Pokemon XD all fucking night.
the
That's just
the
what
other
that was.
the other night, my friends and I, it was like Friday night, maybe. Uh, Friends and I were out drinking. They're not gamers, but we come back at 11. We're pretty tipsy. Uh, so I decided to put on Cool Borders 4.
Yeah, dude, that rocks.
And we played Cool Borders
I mean, you
4.
guys had the coolest fucking time ever.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Twisted Metal 4. Yeah,
hell
Cool Borders
yeah.
4 and Twisted Metal 4. I don't have a multi-tap
Yeah,
for like Twisted Metal stuff, but Twisted Metal 2, the split screen's pretty nice. I mean,
yeah,
it's not bad.
that
Um
rocks.
yeah, so we played that, and they don't really play games, but those types of games are just so
Yeah,
like
there's some games
silly.
that just anybody can pick up, and that's the
Yeah,
kind of game it is. Yeah,
yeah. So that was fun. That
it's a
was
real
fun.
dudes rock moment.
Yeah,
Everybody playing Twisted Metal 4 at like 2 a.m. while
dude,
drunk.
it is like you we talk about like nostalgia and stuff, but I I do look for those moments, and I do like it makes me feel so happy because the rest of my life is bills,
Mhm.
work, um, deadlines.
Yeah,
It's good to just fucking forget that.
yeah. And remember when like the tiniest shit rocked? I remember I got a PlayStation 1 demo disc, and I was so hyped because it had an X-Men Mutant Academy 2 demo. And I would just it had like 3 characters and probably a time limit, and I would just play it over and over, and I'd be like, "This is the fucking life. This rocks." And now I have every option in the world, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I wish I could reclaim going. I could play Cyclops every fucking morning before school. This rocks. Like, I completely get that. It's man. And
Yeah.
again, I'm 26 as I'm saying this. Like I'm
You have plenty of time. Your life is only going to get better from here.
that's very optimistic, but thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Because when I was 26,
Yeah, last year, right? You're my 27-year-old bro, Zario.
I'm 34. When I was 26, I think I had just graduated college, and it was a bad time.
I got a lot of my bad times out of the way from age 17 to 26, and I'm
I think I
hoping
was
we're keeping
I,
it higher now.
yeah, I think the worst of it was I was $40,000 in debt,
Yeah. Oh,
and I
so
was
bad. So
yeah,
bad.
and it was all like credit card debt too because like since I couldn't work while I was in college, I had to just like use my credit card every month to like pay rent and shit.
Yeah.
And
And here
but
you are now.
you know what? You
Your
make a
business
couple
friend?
sacrifices. If you've
Yeah.
listened this far, then you're a real one.
You're a real one.
You're a real one.
You're my favorite.
What I did, and I don't advise, it's not for everybody,
Yeah.
but I lived in my car for a
You on the
while.
street. That too.
Yeah, I lived in my car. I decided, you know what?
You gotta do. You gotta do.
You got to do what you got to do. I
It's no
had to.
shame.
I the debt companies want you to stay in debt. There's no incentive for them to
They want you to
assist
pay,
you.
but they don't want you to stop paying, and you stop paying
Exactly.
when you've paid it off. So they would rather
Exactly.
you just always be paying something.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm. So it was tough. I mean, I've always been pretty fine with being uncomfortable though. But I know that's not for everybody. Like the moment somebody feels uncomfortable, it gets a little they get really like anxiety or anxious, I should say, and um yeah. So it's not for everybody, but I'm one to just roll with the
It's true. If you're
punches.
not hurting anybody, there's like no shame in just doing what you have to get by.
Yeah.
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 And anybody
And
who says otherwise has led a very cool, easy life. If they've
yeah.
never had to be like, this fucking sucks and I have to do it.
I think listeners, the way Spencer and I do get along is that we're both from that same realm where we do deal with our shit, but you don't see our shit
No.
online.
You'll see me being literally anxious 24 hours a day.
Oh yeah, life like we're having fun right now, but life sucks. We
Life
get it.
sucks. It is scary
we're
as usual.
yeah, we're not here to make you
That's why
believe
we're
that
so excited to eat pizza and play Final
yeah.
Fantasy.
The little things excite us. We're not here celebrating like
Yeah.
the that our lives are so great, and no, it's not like that.
No, when this webcam goes off and we go about our things, I make a frozen pizza and then I do more work until I go to bed.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna be editing videos for the rest of the night. So
yeah,
that's my night.
this is the
Um,
fun part. That's why we're
this is
laughing.
definitely the fun part. With that said, this is the episode.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
Look at all that
Uh,
life advice from us for you guys
yeah,
for free.
yeah. We didn't have any trajectory for this episode, but I'm happy where it turned out.
You know what? I think this was an all timer.
Mm. So take that, Jeff. We're the real ones.
Yeah, Azario
Have
Spencer Fest.
have fun making everyone believe that you're a real gamer, Jeff.
Oh, throwing shade.
You know
Throw
what? I was at a
shade.
digital preview event the other
Yeah.
day, and Jeff was in there, and everyone was like sucking his dick in there. And I was like, what? It's a chat. We're just in chat, and everyone's literally like sucking his dick. And I'm like, "Ah, we gotta chill."
Too punk rock for that.
I will say that I'll give him kudos where
I will
he
say
didn't
he's really cool, and if he wants to hire
well,
me, that's cool.
he didn't really like reciprocate the comments and stuff. He was like, "Let's go to the game." Like he was more rooting on the game than addressing the people that were sucking his dick.
Yeah.
So I
Well, it's, you know, it's everybody's doing it. You don't even notice. You're just like, eh. You
yeah,
notice when they.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That rocks.
Yeah.
That's kudos to the Jeffster.
Yeah. So as a
Canadian-
Jeff critic,
Yeah,
uh you know it's true that I'm
yeah.
being
I got
honest.
no issue with Jeff. He's fine.
He's
Whatever.
fine.
He looks kind of sad sometimes, and I hope that he's not sad or anything.
Yeah, he does look kind of sad
I hope
sometimes.
that he's doing well because game industry is tough, no
Yeah.
matter what side of the fence you're on.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know what?
So,
If he can pull it off, Godspeed, Jeff.
well, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Noisy Pixel.